Welcome back to Stars and Myths. You know that in many traditions, the earth and the sky were once united? Maybe you have heard of the Egyptian story. In ancient Egypt, Gabs, the earth, and Nut, the sky, were separated by Shu. In this image, from an ancient Egyptian papyrus, you see the sky with fingers and toes touching the ground. Story of the primeval sky being close to Earth is found in many different versions in tradition on the map, marked by a cyan dot here. See, the separation of the sky and Earth motif is nearly universal. Another almost universal motif is the one of star woman marrying a mortal. The motif distribution is not perfectly identical to the motif describing the once united sky and earth. However, it covers approximately the same regions with a low occurrence in northern Eurasia. When looking at the gender of stars, planets, the sun and the moon globally, one might find regions where a particular gender is more prevalent. Still, generally, the gender of the celestial bodies may change both in language and myth. In French, the sun is masculine and the moon feminine. Le soleil, la lune. In German, that's the opposite. Die Sonne is the sun, die is a feminine form, and the moon, the Mond, is masculine. While the motif of the star woman is almost universal, the wish for a star husband is mostly limited to America. It shows a clear symmetry in the distribution of genders that cannot be generalized. The motif is particularly interesting as we'll see it points to important aspects of the cosmology of many American traditions. It tells us about the sky structure, how it relates to Earth, and how to climb and descend from the sky. Group of stories, primarily folk tales, has been studied for over a century by some of the most renowned folklorists and mythologists, using different tools, statistical ones, psychoanalytic, or sociological approaches, including, for instance, the structure of the society, each one identifying new aspects of the stories. A story can be summarized using a similarity network. The network is built using a method that measures the overlap between tales. The more elements two stories share, the stronger the connection. And this network automatically extracts the motifs that folklorists have identified as being part of this tradition. One reads the story on the similarity graph. The elements of the story are the closest to the central motif here in red. So two sisters wish for a star husband and get one. Out of curiosity, in the sky, they remove a given root from the ground. So the hole left by the removed root, they can see the earth below, and they want to go back to visit their place. They make a rope to descend, but it's too short, and the story takes a different turn depending on the version. We've seen in the star husband myth how a rope is used to connect the earth and the skyward. Many other stories, a tree reaches the sky. In some other stories, the hero flies in the sky. But in many American stories, the connection is more transformative and contains fire as a ritual element. This is the case with the motif of boys dancing around a fire and ascending to the sky to become the Pleiades. distribution is shown here on the map. The association between stars and fire is quite natural. As starlight flickers and seems to move like fire or even like dancers around the fire. The motif is found in America, both north and south. And now the following example, focus on the Bororo in South America, will provide a glimpse at a central problem: the relationship between myth, rites, and ceremonies in connection to the Pleiades motif. Ethnographers have not recorded the young dancer becoming the Pleiades among the Bororo. Despite this, the Bororo perform an initiation ceremony with striking analogies to that story. Many anthropologists have studied the astronomy of the Bororo, which is well documented. Let's name here Levi-Strauss and Fabian in recent time, with his book with covers is shown here. Also, the Bororo do not tell the story of boys transforming to the Pleiades. One of their major initiation ceremonies for young boys shows strong analogies to that narrative. Among the Bororo, initiation is a lengthy period during which they leave their mother to become adults. There's a separation, and one of the main ceremonies coincides with the heliacal rise of the Pleiades, which correspond to the reappearance of the Pleiades on the horizon during a short period in the morning after a period of invisibility. At some time during the initiation, the boys jump over fire in a ceremony called the burning of the Pleiades' feet. So the initiation rite contains many elements of the story. Separation from their parents, in this case their mothers, dancing around the fire. They jump over the fire in a ceremony named the burning of the Pleiades' feet, implying that the boys are the Pleiades. What seems to be missing in the rite is a physical connection to the sky. But we find this connection in a Bororo story explaining how the stars and wild animals were created. A boy steals a lot of corn from the woman. He goes back to the village and asks her grandmother to cook the corn for the other boys. His grandmother helps him cook the stolen food, and she gets a tongue cut off to prevent her from talking about the stolen corn. The boys are scared of being punished, so they escape by using a rope to reach the sky. The woman follows the boys. They cut the rope. The woman falls. Women are transformed into animals, deer, monkeys, and the boys become stars. The structure of the story reminds us of the story of the boys climbing to the sky to become the Pleiades. The fire is missing, possibly replaced by the cooking of the corn. The Pleiades are missing, replaced by stars. The rite and the star creation myth, when taken together, contain all the necessary components of the missing Pleiades story. This suggests that the elements of the Pleiades creation myth are integrated into a ritual performance and a separate creation myth that expands the narrative to explain the origin of all stars and wild animals. What this episode has shown is that in many traditions worldwide, the earth and the sky are connected, sometimes united, sometimes separated, but always in relationship. Women or men from the sky are married in many stories to a person on earth. And these myths offer a glimpse into the cosmology of many traditions, how the universe is structured, and how the sky and earth relate to one another in stories and rites. This concludes the 3 episodes on sky and earth. The next episode is about the fog on the moon. And here's the main reference if you want to dig into that topic. See you next time. Bye bye.